Olá, olá, olá. Tá. Hi, everyone. I'll try to be a little bit quick, just so we don't delay the presentations. My name is Thiago. Thank you, everyone, for coming. This is the first edition of React Native Porto. It was originally organized by me and Danny, and then we have João and everyone else from Blip very gladly hosting us. We're very glad for Blip for hosting us today. You might see a few things might be a little bit disorganized because it's the first time we're doing this. So hopefully everything will go well. Beforehand, I just wanted to thank you, everyone. I think, to be honest, it's very crazy that we already have like 120 people on the group. So many people here today, and we barely announced it or anything. So very happy to have you all. Just so you know, besides the meetup, sometimes we host some more like informal events to have some drinks, to do some stuff. We had this the one time at Letraria bar. It was very funny. I don't know how we will do with this many people, so we probably need to rethink it. But yeah, thank you very much. If you don't follow us on X yet, here are the links, Discord as well. And now I'll pass the word to João. Thank you very much.
So I'm screwed because part of what I was going to say, Thiago already said. So welcome to Blip. It's an honor to host this first event, React Native Conf first edition. The idea came from these two guys, so it's a cool thing. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you, Thiago. And I think it's important to say also that Blip is always looking for new talent. If you have questions about Blip, take the opportunity to speak with any Blipper. So questions you have about the company or opportunities, please speak with one of the Blippers. We will have 3 talks. We will start with Thiago, with Daniela and Ricardo, sorry. I was looking to Daniela and calling her Thiago, yeah. Yeah, I think we don't need to stall anymore. Daniela and Ricardo, if you want. You have your own micro, right?
Yes. Thank you. Okay. So first of all, thank you so much for being here. Welcome. I know that it has been raining a lot, like this past, not day, a week, but month. So thank you so much for making the travel here. So our talk today will be the future of QA is AI assisted. I know this is not news for anyone, that the world is changing towards more automation, more AI. And our goal today is just to give you a context of what is happening in the world, and at the same time, give you a perspective of what's something that we did inside the company the last couple of months considering this. But starting with a part that is not AI, obviously. So, hi again. My name is Daniela Alves. I'm a senior quality engineer working for Blip for 7 years now. I have been working for several brands inside the company. Some of them might sound familiar, like Betfair. I also worked on a pilot project called Divs. And more recently, for the last 2 years, I have been working for FanDuel. FanDuel is a sports betting platform that operates in the United States. And actually, I had to put my dog here because she made it really hard for me to focus these last couple of days and trying to make this presentation because she's a teenager now, and the teenagers are hard like humans and dogs, I learned, so I had to put it here. And yeah, I have been working for FanDuel for the last 2 years, where I had the chance to meet Ricardo, to whom I just passed the word now.
Thank you, Daniela. So my name is Ricardo Cerqueira. I'm also a quality engineer here at Blip. I've been here for about 1.5 years, and I'm also working on FanDuel alongside Daniela. And Pretty much all you need to know about me is on that picture. You can look at my shirt. I'm a football enthusiastic. I will keep calling it football no matter how many times I will listen soccer, soccer, soccer. And I'm also a Porto fan. So thank you for being here. I hope you guys enjoy, and I'm going to pass the word back to Daniela.
Yeah. Okay. So what is the quality today? I know this might not sound like, again, new to most of you, because I bet you are all from this field, software engineering. But nowadays, the QA or a quality person is still the late stage gatekeeper of the development, often testing stuff when the development is done or nearly to be done. At the same time, it still heavily relies into manual validations that are costly not only to perform, but really costly also to maintain. At the same time, this is something that we struggle a lot. I know there's a lot of QAs in the audience today, and this, I think you also face these challenges. How can we be fast in what we do, in what we deliver, but at the same time bringing the same quality that we want into everything that we do? So this is a big challenge that we face, and I personally think about this very often during my day. At the same time, the success is still measured using simple metrics like the number of tests that we have, how long does the pipeline take to run, not only so focused on how were we able to reduce the risk of the stuff that we develop to the clients, how were we able to maintain bugs far away from production, all of that. And last but not least, the QAs are still very siloed. I know this for the ones that work on Bleep. We know this is not as it is on some other companies, but it's still very siloed, where quality in some industries or companies is a different department, is not within the quality engineering teams at all. So this is what we have nowadays. I know this is shifting, but this is mostly it. But at the same time, looking at the World Quality Report, this is a report that is released every year, where it combines analyzed trends on software, quality engineering, software testing, across analyzes trends into different technologies. And this report has feedback from, in this case, this last one, more than 2,000 executives across various industries across all the world. And this is one of the sentences that is written there. In a world where change is constant, adaptability has become the ultimate measure of resilience and leadership. And what does this mean? What adaptability means in this context, in the quality context? We have been looking at trends, and we can see that the pure quality roles, like the manual quality roles, have been declining a lot. There's also something stated on this report, but not only, because I think we don't actually need a report telling this, because we can see it happening in the world, but it's also stated there that there's a skill gap, making the transition really hard from a software tester to a software quality engineer. There's 58% of the companies raising that they had challenges adopting AI tools in order to do their daily work. At the same time, generative AI, for those who don't know what this is, AI to help us generate stuff, basically. Test case generation, test data, bug root analysis, a lot of stuff. So mostly all of us use this on a daily basis. And also the core quality engineering skills are ranking high on what are the most important skills for a quality engineering according to this report. As you can see, which is kind of surprising, AI is actually at the first. It's the highest on this graphic raised by the results that they gather from these 2,000 executives. So obviously we need to start rethinking the roles, rethink how we are doing the stuff, reimagine the process, and that obviously leads us to reimagine how quality is defined nowadays. Obviously, organizations that are adapt fastest are the ones that are leading the next generation of smart, autonomous, and reliable engineering systems. And what are we seeing instead of what I just mentioned previously? What are we seeing happening nowadays? We have a lot more test-aware engineers. So not so much test executors. We can also say more QEs, not so much QAs. We also have more QEs inside the teams. So part of the engineering team, obviously. At the same time, a lot more automation, observability, and risk-based testing. There's also something important, which is shift-left quality or shift-left testing, which is actually moving tasks, important tasks like quality checks, testing, earlier, sooner into the software development lifecycle rather than at the end. This makes us reduce the costs, reduce the time we take doing stuff, and the end goal obviously is to improve the quality and the speed of what we are doing. And last but not least, again, quality multipliers. You might know that some companies nowadays don't even have a QA role anymore. They have people that are everyone is quality aware. Quality is so embedded into the mindset of the companies that they do not even have this type of role. Oh, and now regarding what's the future of this. Obviously, quality is evolving, and right now we don't need a QA that is just there to find and report bugs. We need someone that is able to look at the whole system to try to reduce uncertainty of what is being done by the whole company. At the same time, although we will try to train, or the QA should be trained to be more into software engineering, adapted to software engineering skills. At the same time, we are not expecting the QAs to be focusing on fixing, but rather making the fixing faster and safer to the software engineers with the tools they are capable of using. And obviously, there's a lot of challenges with this new reality. It's interesting because we, as a QAs, already struggled with human written code, and because of our software engineers, but now we also have AI written code. So this is something really complex for also a QA to be focused on. There's a lot of modern architectures, a lot of different technologies out there that also bring another challenge. Faster release cycles and with higher blast radius. So this means that using AI and automation, engineering is able to put something out there in production way faster than it was in the past. The velocity increased a lot, and at the same time, we are doing more releases, and each release contains a lot more context there that is important for the QA to also feel comfortable with. And again, there's a lot of regulatory focus in the whole world. Everything is under analysis, so that's also important to mention. And obviously, we need to, again, rethink everything that we are doing nowadays. We must kind of use AI and automation to try to remove some bottlenecks that we have on our daily basis. The idea over here is not to use AI to replace us, but try to eliminate repetitive tasks that we perform on a daily basis and so we can have more time to do exploratory testing. Because right now, until today at least, AI doesn't replace yet the human intuition, all that exploratory thing that humans are capable of doing. So the idea is just try to use it to help us with everything else that happens on our daily work, and eliminating these repetitive and low value tasks. Obviously, the end goal to provide faster and more reliable feedback to the teams. So now I'll pass my word to Ricardo, that will focus a little bit more into a suggestion on how to use AI.
So AI in automation with React Native, how do we actually do this in practice? We have been using Cursor as a code assistant AI, and we have using Detox as our React Native framework for automation. In our daily basis, we are using Cursor to help us write, refactor, and even reviewing tests, while Detox will provide us with a reliable end-to-end testing perspective, and combined with AI, makes our work a lot easier. So once we have our recipe, once we know what we are going to use, we need to start setting up our AI for success, right? One thing that people should be aware is that you will have different AI agents at your disposal. There are AI agents that are better for some things and others for other types of tasks. For example, if you are looking onto a more difficult type of task, you should be using an agent that has a more deeper reasoning, that is smarter, that will take longer to give you outputs. If you are looking for some quick refactor to the code, you should be using an agent that is more code-based and will provide you with faster results and different outcomes until you are satisfied. So now that we know a little bit about how agents work, we need to create content to pass to our agents. So this is where we are actually using something different. We are facing something that is like context over rules. There's engineers that like to do a file, and in that file, you will place a lot of rules for your agent to follow when you are operating in, right? On our case, we are not using rules. We are using documentation. What this documentation provides, it's context about how you should be writing tests, how you should be structuring your tests, your text files, that you should be using test IDs on selectors, how you should be placing test IDs, and even providing some examples of code of how your tests are being made. This is crucial for setting up AI for success. Now that we know the setup, let's pass to the execution, right? The execution will pass first to passing the right context. The right context will be the documentation or even existing tests that you feel that are bringing value to your agents. Once you have done this, you'll pass on to the prompts, right? Your prompts should be clear, concise, and with a defined scope, because you won't need to be on the lookout for, don't forget, create this test, but follow this structure, add selectors to the components. You won't need to pass any of that because the context already has it. So your prompts should be more succinct instead of very large that will start confusing your agents. Once you do that, you'll try to review the result, right? You'll have to validate the logic, the code quality, and if it's the result that you want. And once you have this, you will iterate on it and learn from it. What do I mean by this is that sometimes you won't reach the result that you wanted. You'll have to refine your prompts, or you are going to be able to see that your agent is making the same mistakes over and over. So if he's doing this, maybe I should update my documentation, my context, so that he stops doing that, saving time over the long period, and will also save time for your colleagues, engineers that are going to be using the context themselves. So how does AI actually bring value through automation? We are going to focus on three main aspects. It will be acceleration, enablement, and strategy. So accelerating is pretty much self-explanatory, right? It's about speed. We're going to be delivering faster, right? But it's not only about speed. AI will also bring us consistency, because if you have AI that is going to be used in the same context and being applying to write your tests, you will create a pattern, a standard, and it will be applied through all tests. And it's easier for us to maintain a code base that has consistency. And we can also view tests in a more easier way, because the structure, the pattern will be the same. Only the content, the scenarios can be a little simpler or difficult, whatever, but you'll be able to read them easily, which is good for us. Also, AI will help you troubleshoot your tests, your flaky tests, your failed tests, whatever, and how. Again, passing context to your agent. You can, for example, pass the terminal logs to your agent, or you can run the tests, take a screenshot of the part that is failing on your tests, and pass it to your agent. And in the prompt, give him an explanation of what is happening. The more context and information that you pass to your agent, you are actually raising the probability that your agent is going to help you find the root cause. So it's actually pretty helpful. When we are talking about enablement, we are talking about the improving our test quality, right? For example, if you want to create a test, you are running your app, let's say on a simulator, and you are viewing a page, right? So you can take a screenshot of that page, you can pass it to your agent, write the test scenario, and say, I want to verify that this element is visible, this test contains this string, whatever, and your agents will go to your code base, find the components, and place the selectors in the right components. That's probably the most dull task that we have as a QA, as QEs, is going up to the components and placing test IDs and searching for them. And you can do this in seconds. You just have to review it later. It's amazing. So There's also other things that you can use AI for. It's not only for execution. You can also debate with AI. You can ask AI to pass you or give you ideas for different test approach, different test scenarios, learn new patterns. So you can learn from AI, right? And not only learn from this, but you will also learn more about your code base, because you will be reviewing the placement, for example, of the selectors, and you will be learning more about how those components are being made, and gain more knowledge about your own code base as a QA engineer. And what about strategy? How does AI can help us with this? Well, if AI is going to be focused on execution, the engineer can start focusing on adding value and measuring impact. So we can start asking ourselves questions. Am I writing the proper tests? Is this test really adding value, or is just another one to raise our coverage? Do I need to think about a different scenario? Do I need to create a smoke test, a regression test? What can I do to improve our quality overall? So this is the type of thing that AI will give you time to consider, not only focus on a ticket, on a task that you have to develop, but think as quality as a whole in the strategy. Also, when we have AI writing code, pretty much like Daniela said, we'll have engineers reviewing it, and engineers will be reviewing it more thoroughly, right? Why? Because it's AI written code and we cannot trust it. So engineers will start reviewing the code more thoroughly and will not drop the code standards, because they are used to work a certain pattern, a certain structure, and they will not allow AI to fall below that. So it will actually also increase your code base health regarding tests. So that's pretty much it on our side. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have any questions, Danielle is more than happy to answer it. So bring them. Thank you. Two? I don't know if you have to pay extra, but it's okay. Okay.
Total.
First of all, it was a very good presentation, very knowledgeable, so thank you very much. The question is, do you think that end-to-end tests, they should be on the QA side or on the developer side? And second question, imagine that you have an app which is making like 100,000 euros a month, and what would you test? Like, how much time would you spend on the end-to-end test? How would you make sure that if we, for example, release the app every 2 weeks, right? We have another release. How would you make sure that it is not going to break the production? How are you sure that you are not going to stop this revenue? How do you approach this in the apps, like a huge apps like that? Because, every small mistake can stop revenue, and you can lose like 1,000 euros in a few hours.
Okay, I can take the first one in the releases. You can answer that one.
Okay.
So who should be focusing on the test, on the end-to-end testing? Is it QAs or developers? From our perspective here, we do not separate quality between roles. The quality is a responsibility for all of us as QAs and as developers. The developers help QAs to gain more context about the code they are writing. And as our job as QAs is to alert developers to certain risks that they might not see. So I cannot separate who's responsible for the end-to-end testing, because our culture here and in the way that we work, we are all responsible for it. Mm-hmm. We have to, as a team, do our planning, our sprint planning, and accordingly, and the tests are considered within this. When we do our refinements, our developers are pretty much, as a cultural thing, start speaking about testing itself. And to be honest, as a QA here, it's a dream, right? Because we don't have to be bugging them. Do not forget testing. Did you allocate time for this? Or can you help me with this? Can you explain me how I should be testing this? Do you think this scenario can happen? Does not happen? So it's actually something that we should work on together, and it's a responsibility that it's shared across team. I think that might answer you.
Can I ask another question? Because usually those tests, end-to-end tests, they're like time-consuming, right? So you cannot test everything.
Sure.
So, like for every feature you have, you think about that before the making a ticket. What are you going to test, and which test are you going to write? Do you have like some kind of planning of that? Because I think in my company, maybe there is like a bit we can improve that. So I'm curious about your approach.
Yeah. Want me to take it?
I can answer.
Okay.
Otherwise, it's only him.
Yeah.
But I will just also add something to what Ricardo mentioned earlier. At least, and kind of answer also the second this question that you just put out there. Here in what we do, the QAs are the ones that are responsible, obviously, to write a test as soon as the user story is out there. Like try to come up with a test plan, understand what level or type of test they will be doing on each ticket. We are on some brands, we already have like automation testing within the definition of the user story. So whenever development is being done, there's also automation tests that are being done at the same time within the same scope, not on a different task. The second, what was the first question? Sorry.
The first question was about how many tests and what are you actually testing? Like, what are you focused on when you do a feature? Because you can write like, a lot of tests, but you have to select something. And the second question was about if you have like an app which is making a lot of money.
Yeah.
How are you sure that you are not breaking something when you release every 2 weeks?
Yeah, so right now, and what we do, apart from the automation included within every single ticket that we do, we try to, on Fundual right now, we are more focusing on what we call like smoke tests. And we also have suites of regression tests that we run on every single release that touch the most important parts of the application. So these suites are not run like every single day. They are run on specific times, like before each release or on schedule. It depends on what we actually want to achieve. And at the same time, regarding the QA versus the software engineer or who's responsible for quality, I personally believe that, again, according to what Ricardo said, is everyone's responsibility, obviously. The QA might be more equipped with some product knowledge, some risk analysis to be able to assist that testing, to be able to guide everyone, but obviously the quality doesn't start there. Quality starts way sooner into the project. The process starts when you are defining the requirements, starts when or continues when you are picking up the user story, when you are developing the code and all of that. So it's just not that specific part at the end.
Okay, thank you.
There is other thing which are the feature flags. Yeah, it's a megaphone.
Yeah.
And the feature flags, we use it like when you deliver a big feature, you can select a very small group where you deliver the feature and that test if it causes any problem.
Yeah, it protects.
And with that protect the liquidity or the money income that you are asking.
Yeah, we use a third part. We use Amplitude. Not sure if you're familiar with Amplitude. Where we have feature flags, where we can also create, define which users are testing that specific development, assign our users to test it beforehand, and start small rollouts, define a lot of different variants. And that also allows, if we see on our logs, obviously we also have logging. If we see any problem, we can try to not fix it, but minimize it by going to Amplitude and turning off that specific part of the code, like a if statement.
Thank you. We don't have time for more questions, but if you want to reach out to us and we will answer them, okay? Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.